No,
Like,
this was way
crypto was
before that.
just-
Gabe told us. I
You're right,
remember
it
he
was.
asked us all. He's like, "Yo, we should all put $10 in and we can buy some Bitcoin." And every single one of us were like, "You put your money on the internet, it's gonna get lost." Because that was
Yeah.
just the assumption. Like it was
Old
like
school.
this, yeah.
But it didn't bump until like 2015, 2016 or something.
Yeah, it was flat for so long.
Oh,
Anyways.
yeah. It was- years, right? We're talking multi-million, like $4 or $5 million left.
I will say this: I don't like our management, but I like them way more than the Benning era. Like everything that happens, you can say good or bad, but it just feels like more of a normal hockey club. Whereas Benning, it was just this like ongoing. We're trying to win a cup with a team that can barely get into the playoffs. If we add one more old guy or something, like come on, come on.
No, it's nice again. We played a little hardball, and like Dak said, the market was just so weak that like this was probably the best choice.
Well, I'll make a point that Besser's never really hit free agency, right?
No, he had a bridge, the last one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he never really hit free agency. So that half day, at least, he burnt a year, but he's able to actually see what's out there.
Oh, okay,
A little bit.
yeah,
I
yeah.
do
So
know
he'll
that
know.
Yeah.
He'll
you
play
know,
knowing. In
there's
the
always
future.
this thought that players don't know what the offers are until July 1st. That's total bullshit. Like, Besser's agent was basically telling him all the offers the week leading up to it, at least the day before or whatever. Like, he apparently had 10 offers. A lot of those are shit.
what?
Keep in mind, some of those are stupid. Some guys would have come out here with, like, 3-year max. You know what I mean? There would have been some weird Anaheim, Columbus. All those teams were obviously offering big money. I'm sure they were offering him, like, $9 million. San Jose probably offered him, like, $9 million. But it might have been a short term, and it probably is, a situation where you're going to a worse club.
Deep.
So I think Toronto was on his radar, apparently. Like, Toronto was offering him a pretty big deal, but it was a short term, so he didn't want it.
Interesting.
And Utah apparently was big on him. And
He
who
would
was
have
the other
been
one?
good in Utah.
Minnesota.
Minnesota, for sure. I know Minnesota was definitely.
Yeah, that's how I just assumed he was going to Minnesota
too.
or Detroit.
They had all their money because this was the first summer without the Suter and the Parise
I-
Oh
contracts.
man.
I've heard the rumblings are Minnesota was offering 7x7.
Oh wow.
So that kind of tells you a lot that I think he really did want to stay. Because hometown or not, like, that means something.
Okay, things I will say. I'm going to support Brock because he's here, and I always feel like you have to like give them a fair shot at that.
Of course.
But there's a weird thing in sports sometimes when you're dealing with contracts and re-signing and getting players is it's not like you could sit there and be like, oh, yo, we should get X player. They'd be so good for our team, but they just might not be available.
Yep.
And so as much as like we were saying before, like, oh, you want Brock on, but if he's the second best player that you can get in the
Yeah,
free
he
agency,
literally
then you're
was.
unfortunately handcuffed to
Yeah.
like, well, we got to sign this.
It
guy,
was literally
right?
him and Ehlers by the time the clock struck noon or whatever. Like, it was nuts.
Yeah.
Being at home that morning, being kind of half excited, even though most of the guys re-signed the night before. And then the few guys left re-signed that morning. And then Ehlers announced he wasn't even signing that day. And Brock literally was number one on the target. Like, he was the number
That's
one
so
target
crazy.
of free
What
agency.
a elite class.
I know, right?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it was him and Gavrikov were like the
nuts.
two big targets, I would argue, for
That's
free
unreal,
agency.
man.
So that
Well,
just highlights.
Let's start off the top. Technically, he was an unrestricted free agent, but
Yeah.
and it got done on July 1st, but this was done like the day before. But Marner went to Vegas, so Vegas again went big game hunting, and basically got the next top guy on the board, and
believe it.
just reload. Like their top six again is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It looks ridiculous. And yes, they lost Pietrangelo. They lost some depth on defense, but you look at their defensive core; it's still solid.
It's not bad. I mean, you got Hannafin, McNabb, and Theodore.
Yeah,
That's not
exactly.
bad at all.
No matter what is after that, that's enough to like prop it up.
And if they get Anderson, it's just not good.
Then all of a sudden they have one of the best top fours in the league again.
So
It'd be
like,
ridiculous.
how does this keep happening? Like how?
I mean, there's an investigation looming, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But everything I heard, it's so nuts. So the Toronto trade, if you guys know the specifics, like Toronto obviously gave the rights away, but they got Nicholas Roy back, which is like not supposed to happen in trading rights of players. You're usually lucky to get a third or fourth round pick, not like a middle-aged, really good 3C, like on a good contract, I think, too.
Yeah.
So like that was one of those, give us this or we're going to report you to the league for tampering. That's around the league. I've been hearing a lot of whispers of
Really?
like, there's a lot of Toronto was basically saying like, sure, you can have Marner, but you better fucking give us something the day
back.
before, or else we're going to the league and telling him that you've been talking to him since the deadline. Which I think is true, because this is also Toronto's fault a little bit. They almost flipped him at the deadline to get Rantanen, was the whole rumor,
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah.
So apparently in doing that, Vegas's camp, or Marner's camp, got to talk to Vegas, because if he was going to go there, he would have wanted to lock in a contract extension. Oh. So there was talks at that time, at least preliminary or whatever, there was at least some conversations brewing. And then the thoughts are that since the summer basically began, that those talks picked up again. And Marner was shipped to going to fucking Vegas a week before free agency. It was the worst kept secret in hockey.
This is one thing I just don't believe it myself. This idea of teams aren't allowed to talk to teams till X date. Like you said,
it's
Connor.
Kind of stupid.
It's not the legally what you're supposed to do. I think that's fair. Like, oh, you have the rights, Dax, you're not allowed to talk to Connor till he's out of contract with my team. But I don't believe any team actually doesn't tap them up before in some sense. Like,
well, you're going to tell me a Vegas player can't chat to Marner in the offseason about, hey, you should come to Vegas. Like, that's how there's shit like that where it's like, yeah, the GM is not calling Marner's just freaking agent.
The mind-blowing thing about it for me that just breaks my brain is the cap flexibility that Vegas seems to continue to have. Like,
operating again with very sus LTIR.
Because they shipped Roy, right? Yeah. Okay, fine. But he didn't make close to $12 million.
No.
I get they shipped Nick Hague. That was another guy, right? And then Petrangelo's freaking contract comes off the books. So then, plus the $5 million cap increase, there's Marner.
This is the Petrolangelo one we were talking a little earlier, but like, this is the first time ever that I'm actually like in an LTIR situation. Like, you heard what his surgeries are. Like, the dude's done.
He's already
like, and it's not like he's gonna come back and play game one of the playoffs. Like, his career is over. It's all but been announced. Like, it's over.
So
there's a chance
he's done.
No, he's getting double hip resurfacing.
They said that the reason why they're
like,
not
he's not coming back this year. Maybe even if he wanted to, next year would be up in the air.
It would be a very Vegas thing.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why
he's not, Kessler had times two. Like, it's like Kessler had one of them done, and it took him like a year and a half to try to come back.
Yeah. Well, they said the reason why they're not retiring him is so that they can still pay him money.
Yeah.
Because if you retire him, you forgo your money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's one of those LTIRs that I actually, of the few over the years, I'm 100% on board with. Like, his career's over.
Yeah.
He deserves to
he's
compensated
earned
still.
Dude, that Vegas penalty kill is going to be such a bitch to play.
They still William Karlsson.
Yeah.
It was a great 3C/#1 penalty kill.
The rollout, Eichel, Stone, Marner, like Hannafin, because he's going to take over Petrangelo.
Remember when Eichel, there was that huge question mark around him solely because he had that back surgery? Was it back or neck surgery? Neck. And everyone was like no one doubted Eichel, but it was like, will he be the same man? And it's like, so I might have got better somehow.
He left Buffalo.
Yeah.
Have you watched Eichel play on TV before? Mm-hmm. So I saw him play. So I've watched him on TV, obviously, with Vegas, but the final game of the season, Sarah and I watched them like live at Rogers, and his skating is ridiculous. It's so smooth. It's not like powerful. It's not fast. It's just smooth. Yeah. Like,
no part of his game is flashy.
It looks so buttery. Like, when he just glides. On TV,
he's kind of just like, he gets the points and everything, but like, at no point am I watching him do I see what I see with so many other top end guys. But he's absolutely one of them still. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I know he's got a strong two-way game too. But like, I know he's got a pretty lethal wrist shot. But like, no part of him looks fast or edge work or crazy vision or.
So pretty much a prime Mark Stone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
A little bit like Tavares too. I always thought he reminded me right off the hop of Tavares. Like, just that same level of just like, he's really good at everything. He's just not necessarily like spectacular at one thing, whether it's a crazy shot or crazy dangles or crazy speed. Like, McDavid's known for his speed. McKinnon's a fucking horse charging through people, and like, Kucherov is just dangles, and like, everyone has their trait, and with him I'm like, he's just all around really fucking good.
It's interesting. All the best. I feel like the thing you notice, you can't see it on TV. It's a live thing. Like you said, they're skating smooth. It's like you just can notice. You're like, they're so much better. The superstars are so much better at skating than everyone else, which is, and it doesn't even make sense how that can be possible.
I remember a bunch of us watched the Colorado game a few years back, and it was like the first time we all saw just how amazing McKinnon was at skating, and just what a horse he was at it too, right? Like it was like a mix of power and skating. It was like
not fair.
Yeah. I don't know. Vegas bums me out because that team is so good.
I know.
They're just going to be, they're just something to deal with every year now. You know, and the minute you think, oh, this might be
Luckily, they're not young. They're not old, but they're not young.
But they know their window. They know their window. They've seen their window.
It's 3 to 5 years,
Yeah.
I would say. Like, that's their window.
I would just not want to play Vegas, even if they're not doing well and getting as the, 7-8 seed in year 1-2. You could be the team and just beat them, but at any point you could be like, Jesus Christ, this team, even though they weren't playing well,
7.
now that
Yeah. And then obviously I think, I don't know, but I think unanimously the winners of the offseason, in my opinion, is Florida again.
Oh, man.
They brought all of them back, and they still have cap room. Like, how did they do that?
Yeah, they have
Winning
to
culture,
re-sign
man. Just winning culture.
Samuskevich and someone else. Their cap room is gone.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then Bob's next year.
Yeah. Everyone just praises Zito, like the ownership.
Dude,
Yeah, but Zito-
he's either won it or been runner-up of the last 3 years. I think he's won 2 of them, and he's runner-up the year he didn't win.
But Zito said, they asked him that, what do you say about people giving you credit for re-signing all 3? And you see his quote? He's
I
like,
didn't.
it wasn't me. He's like, they all talk to each other. Like, I did the easy part.
The Bennett one was really obvious. I think we all kind of half expected him to re-sign, but I was watching a lot of the parades and everything, and those boys were fucking in his ear the whole time, being like, yeah, tell the crowd you want to stay. Like, tell the crowd you want to stay. And then finally he was at a party one night, and they're all in his ear. You could see Reinhardt just chirping it in his ear, being like, tell them. And he was like, fuck it, 8 more years. And he's just, like, I don't know whether the paperwork was done at that point. It took a few days still.
But
so
that's what
I
he
don't
said.
know if that was just the vibe they were putting off, was like everyone's
Bringing everybody back.
It's a dynasty. Why would you not stay?
I heard
why would you
that
not stay?
Florida teams have the most ridiculous lives. So let's get over the tax break one. That one's a thing, right?
a really nice place to live.
No, but from what I understand is most of the sports teams are in a congregated area,
Yeah,
and
their
they
downtown
basically
core is
and they
pretty
get
much. I think all 3 of them surround.
yeah, they all surround, and they're in pretty much, they get off hockey practice. They get in their golf cart because everything's closed off. They drive to their kids' school via golf cart, pick up their kids, drive home from their school with golf
their
carts.
country club.
So yeah, wherever they go. So it's
Yeah.
even within it, you're I think they're living the most balling life you could actually
You're
live.
either near
too.
a golf course or a beach.
Yeah.
Have you looked at their top 9?
Oh,
It's freaking ridiculous,
People
man.
don't realize their third line that they won with was Marchand, Lundell, and Lusterine.
It's
Marchand was on
crazy.
the third line.
He was their best player.
You know
know.
what Lundell's nickname is? Everyone calls him
Bark.
Baby Barkov.
Yeah, Baby Barkov.
Everybody calls Lundell
'Cause
Baby
he's
Barkov.
really good. He's one of those guys where
That's
it's
a name
like,
to have.
if you could remove Bennett and Barkov, he's absolutely
He would be their
number-
top line.
Really?
He's good, man.
To me, he'd be a really good number 2 seed. I don't know if the offense is quite there to be a number 1, but he absolutely could erupt for 60+ points
It's
one
not
year
fair.
if somebody got hurt.
Just call him Baby Barkov.
It's not fair, man. And they're top 2 now,
Defensively, he's a freak. He's like Jordan Stahl, but with more high upside.
and then they're top 2 on defense. You go yes, Ekblad gets hurt a lot, but you go through Ekblad and Forsling, and then you have to freaking deal with Seth Jones.
Which is a great ad. Yeah.
Who's
Just-
resurging?
I think Seth Jones.
What the heck, man?
I've always loved Seth Jones. I think he is just a top end defenseman. Even as he gets older, it's not that he's the best defenseman,
His
but
whole
you're
thing
this
was
guy can play
he
defense
always
clearly.
needed to be a number 2 or 3. He couldn't be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought that even when he got shipped from Nashville to
Columbus.
Columbus. As soon as he got there, and kind of Werenski just kept getting hurt, and he kept being relied upon to be the guy, and it was just too tall of an order for him, I felt like. And then he goes to Florida, and he's the number 3, and they just it was perfect situation. Not even the guy, not even the backup guy, your number 3 probably still plays the power play mostly, but
Well, it makes sense
it's
too.
a
You
perfect
still get
position.
your-
He's gonna erupt for 50+ points next year and look great, and I think Chicago's keeping some of the money on him.
It's
I'm
crazy,
pretty sure,
man.
right? They're retaining a
they're
mil or 2.
They're retaining a
Now
lot
you
of
have
them.
Seth Jones at an appropriate number compared to what guys just signed for. Provorov makes more than Seth Jones.
That's crazy. It's crazy, man. Let's start with the bad contracts because there's a ton of them. Connor and I were talking about this. Some just ridiculous numbers came across the board. It makes the Brock contract look so good because, again, I understand people are like, oh, we're paying $7 million for Brock. But then you look at some of the contracts that were doled out. Connor already alluded to it, like Provorov signed for $7.5 million, is it? For 7 years. And he's not even, I wouldn't even say he's the number 2 or the number 3 defenseman
He's
on
like
Columbus.
as good as Marcus Pettersson, basically.
Really?
Who
That's
we
so sad because I
re-signed.
had such high hopes for him when he was young.
Yeah. He's a little more of like a hard hitting guy, and like he's got a little bit more of that style to him, I guess. But I'd also trust Marcus Pettersson way more in the defensive end. So it's like we're paying 5.5 for Marcus Pettersson for the next 5 years, and they just signed a guy who's arguably worse.
Did
for-
Provorov have some controversy off ice? I can't
No,
remember.
he's one of the.
It
Russians
was the one where Philadelphia had like Pride Night.
Right,
Oh,
and he didn't.
right,
I feel like that was a big turning point for him. I'm not saying it was like that happened and it was over, but it feels like that was the same time his career kind of started downswinging.
I always thought Philly just rushed him too and just asked too much too young. He was like 20 years old, number 1D right off the hop.
But defensemen this offseason primarily got freaking paid.
Yeah.
And not in a good way. Like, have you looked at some of the contracts, man?
no.
I know Connor keeps talking about Cody Chichi.
Dude, Cody
that's such a
Ceci
bad
contract is hilarious to me. I don't know how a guy went from being a buyout candidate to getting a 4x4.
He's probably
4.5.
laughing.
4.5.
Probably laughing so hard.
I was saying to Dax quick, the one good part is we're sitting here saying Vegas is a beast, Edmonton's a beast. How is the Pacific going to work for the Canuck fans here? LA got worse, like
They did.
100%. Like they
that's
signed
good.
a bunch of bad contracts to a point where like I'm like, sweet, their future's bleak.
That's crazy because we were I'm pretty sure last podcast we were talking about how LA's like they're looking good.
They're a middling team, and I still thought they had enough youth mixed with some decent veterans to make it work. And then they signed a bunch of aging veterans to terrible contracts. So you're like, they did the Beagle Roussel. They did what we did that year, pretty
Yeah.
much, right? Like they
Who's their
signed a
coach right
bunch
now?
of.
Still the Finnish dude. What's his name? He plays like terrorist hockey.
Terrorist hockey.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
the Cody CC way.
I mean,
Leaving
they picked up
bombs
Corey
on the
Perry.
post or something.
Yeah, they got Corey Perry, so yeah.
The other bad D contract too was Ryan Lindgren. Did you see that contract?
Oh, yeah, again, guy I thought
Dallas?
was almost borderline.
No, he signed with Seattle. They gave him 4 by 4.5.
Another good thing for us, Seattle was really stupid on free agency for a second year in a row, so that helps.
I'm happy because that I think for me is the hardest take is if Seattle becomes good, I'll hate that.
No, they're not going to.
Lindgren's
they're-
top 4 though, isn't he?
He was, but he fell off a cliff. Now he's like, I'd rank him as low or maybe equal to
And he
Carson
has
Soucy.
0 offense.
Yeah,
Like
he's,
zero
He's basically
offense.
Carson Soucy at this point. He was what Carson Soucy was in that little stretch for a bit there, but it's like those guys again, like when they have no offense either, it's like, okay, well if you can't defend, what
The
the hell are you
defenseman contract,
doing?
though, that I hated the most.
What are you doing?
The worst defenseman contract, though, in my opinion, not even because the guy is bad. I actually really like the player. I just hate the contract. Is the 8 by 7.5 for Keandre Miller? That money is ridiculous
At
to
New
me.
York?
No, they traded him to the
Carolina.
Canes,
Oh wow.
and the Canes gave him $7.5 million a year.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Like he fell out of favor in New York to the point where, much like Lindgren, he wasn't even barely playing top 4 minutes.
This kind of
then-
feels like Jones to Columbus again, but Keandre was on like a
The
lower
decline.
trajectory.
Yeah, he was kind of on the decline. At least with Keandre, I'll say I think he's like 26.
25.
25.
So
So
there's
like,
there's still time.
potential there, and Brenda Moore's system could benefit him.
Do you think it's maybe something to do with did they have to fulfill a cap minimum or something? So that's
They just
why
wanted
they
to
got paid
shake
more?
up their decor like real hard. Like between removing Lindgren and Keandre, that's 2 of your top 4. So
Right,
I think
okay.
they went, and then they brought in
Gavrikov.
Gavrikov, which was probably the best defenseman signing
Okay.
of free agency. So kudos to the Rangers for pulling off one of the best moves and only move they made, I think. Really.
Yeah.
And adding to the Russian core, which
Yeah.
is prominent in New York.
Yeah, and I just think Gavrikov fits their style. Like he's a big, hard-hitting, solid. Like he can play with Fox to make for a really solid number 1.
This
pick.
is a make or break
Like,
year
he's-
for them, actually, because
Yeah.
Panarin's a free agent next season,
Oh.
a UFA too.
Yeah.
So like they have one kick at the can because I don't know how much they're willing to pay what Panarin's going to ask for, and then from there it's like, what do you do with that money now?
How old is Pan?
He's 34, But he's still coming
pretty...
off like a 100-point season, so it's not like he's falling off.
He's gonna have a short one, but he'll still get paid for it.
Yeah.
It'll just be whether they're good enough and he'll want to stay. I think that's what it is, because he doesn't have a cup, so he's gonna want to go looking.
On the topic of Russia, did you see Spencer Martin signed there?
In Russia?
In Moscow.
Funny. No, with Moscow?
Yeah. Canucks legend Spencer Martin.
Man, can't even forget, like 3 off seasons ago, the Canucks fans saying we should play him ahead of Demko. Like,
sometimes that just shows you how like we know hockey. I don't think it's like a thing like maybe like I don't know, maybe Connor, you or Gabe or Dax, like you maybe watched and know a bit more, but I've watched hockey my whole life, so like I know the sport, and you just know some of these people that are saying that stuff. You're like, you clearly saw Spencer Martin make like a glove save and we're like, this is our guy. This is our guy. And you're like, you can't honestly think he was better than Demko.
They clearly are not watching enough games to know the difference, but yeah.
Okay, I have a question. What does Buffalo do from here? Because they just let one of their young, promising talents for a really good contract with JJ Peterka, who I thought we probably should have taken a kick at the can at.
I wonder if we did. I don't, you always don't really know. The Rossi one got leaked, but I don't know if we did, because in fairness, we needed a center more than anything. So
yeah, true. But the 5x7.7 is not terrible, and the return was nothing.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a bad return.
You think so?
Doan and
Kesserling.
They're solid players.
I mean,
not bad.
I
get it.
For
The best player in the deal went to Utah.
Yeah.
But in that situation where the player's asking to leave and that's what's going to happen, like they did about as good as you can do on a return and getting a potential top 4D who's a righty and big size. And Josh Doan, I wonder what he could be still. Worst case scenario, I think he's got like a Dakota Joshua in him. So
I think he's 40.
Yeah, exactly.
40,
Like a 20
50.
goal, 40 feet, and he hits a lot. So like he's a big lanky forward who hits a lot. So like he's interesting.
Poor Buffalo, man.
But yeah, don't get me wrong. They didn't help their team. Like they still traded the best player.
What do you do if you're like you're Buffalo and you're sitting there and you're looking at all your assets or looking where you are and you're like, yo, I think we need to be in a rebuild, and you're like, yo, we're like the worst. We're already in a rebuild.
Okay.
Like,
did you see
Buffalo?
Perpetually.
I don't know why they don't go big game hunting constant, and I mean like fire on all cylinders, because like you just mentioned, they still somehow have a buttload of assets of young potential
really good
superstars. And they still have all their picks and they have all this money and then like all this, there's no reason that they can't go and swing for the fences on every trade. Like if a guy like somehow, I don't know, like this isn't the right guy, but if like a Matthews ever shook loose, if I'm Buffalo, like you're one of 3 or 4 teams that can actually offer up a package to get that kind of player, they should just do that, because clearly accumulating young players and assets isn't working.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like
so like you need to go big game hunting.
Yeah,
Panarin 11-3.
Did you see?
No, but seriously, why wouldn't you?
Why not? Because every other way you've tried isn't working. So like, if you're Buffalo, why not?
Did you see the chart that I posted in the hockey chat of like the Buffalo team in 2021?
Oh, that was disgusting.
Can I read it through?
Yeah.
Okay. These were the players that were on the Buffalo team in 2021. Okay. Jeff Skinner, Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart, Dylan Cousins, Tage Thompson, JJ Peterka, Taylor Hall, Casey Middlestat, Jack Quinn, Victor Olofsson, Gergensons, Kalak Poso, and then they had Darlene, Montour, Power, McCabe, Samuelson, Risto, and their goalies were Olmark and Ukko-Pekka Lehkonen.
Why couldn't they be good?
Because they were young,
they traded them
and they traded them all.
And it's just a losing culture.
It's a bit of a losing culture mixed with like, for some reason, and this doesn't make sense because they just did it again. They traded one of the young guys, but like they keep following in the same footsteps of the thing that has gotten them here, and they just did it again.
Yeah. How did they? Like Jeff Skinner played his first playoffs this year with Edmonton, and he only got like 3-4 games
for 11 years.
But how do you not see what you did with Reinhart? And you're like, screw it, we'll just move Reinhart.
Yeah,
it could be worse.
This
Canucks
is why
fans.
I'm like, it could be worse. Young
We're almost
talent,
there.
and if you're gonna trade young talent, make sure it's for the best player available, because the problem is when they move their young talent, they're losing the best player available in the trade. So it's like, oh well, we got these 2 pieces, and I just justified this 2 seconds ago, but like literally I think this is Buffalo's problem. They keep making barely justifiable trades for trading away young players that are really good. Instead, they should, if you're going to do that, make sure you're getting the best player in the trade. Like, sure, you're going to lose 2 potential star players of the future. Make sure you're getting a star now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Stop going for middling pieces and go get Jack Eichel.
Is it? Do you think it's ownership or is it GMs? Because like there's
All
a
of
world
It's a
where like,
combination.
but
They
if
fired
it's
and hired like 3 or 4 times.
but
in
if
this
you're
whole thing.
if it's your ownership, there's a potential, like for example, Canucks with Aquilini, you kind of have this thing where you're like, yo, this dude loves the team, like he's not gonna let it go, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So everything we have to do is kind of live or die by that. But at least Aquilini actually like it seems like to me, regardless if he does right or wrong, he actually wants the Canucks to do well. Whereas maybe the Buffalo team, it's like they're just like whoever owns it is like, I'm just happy I have my own hockey team. I can do what I want, and they're never like really interested.
But they were good when we were growing up. Like I remember
true,
Buffalo was
Briere,
always good.
Briere,
with Dominic Hasek. and
Dominic
Briere,
Hatch and
yeah.
Briere, they had they were always good. Michael Pekka,
Where?
like,
Oh,
they
that's
were
an old
always
school
good.
throwback.
Like they were always good, and so that's why I'm like, it's not that because the ownership knows how to
fair,
win.
Fair.
I
Where
don't
is
know.
Buffalo?
In
It's
New
by
York.
Toronto, right?
It's in New York.
It's in New
Yeah.
York.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Henry would
They
make
have a
sense.
market too. Like they still bring fans in, even though it's been so bad. They're not technically like a bottom struggling market, from what I know. So like, they're literally just like they're so due.
weird.
I feel
It's
bad
weird.
for them.
I do feel bad.
Like
They're
it's at
so
a point
bad.
now where I just feel bad for them.
I even actually like their jerseys, the blue and yellow and
The
the,
black
buffalo
one.
with the like thing. Or yeah,
Oh,
and
the
mean
black
one. Yeah.
Oh,
I always
that
think
was
Danny
so
Briere
nice.
or Drew Reed
Yeah.
with those.
No, it was Shatan, was it?
Shatan,
Sainted?
yeah.
Dude, my favorite was Maxim Afinogenov with the old big bison buffalo on it or whatever.
I love when people throw out
Like
old
Ryan
school
Miller was
names. You're
there.
like, oh,
Remember when Ryan Miller was there? Yeah.
beast.
Yeah, Buffalo, like I just don't get it because they draft well. Like Jack
Yeah,
Eichel's a
they
champion.
draft very
Sam
well,
Reinhart's a
actually.
champion.
They draft very well, actually.
Brad Montour's a champion.
I think if you went through all the NHL teams in the last decade or two and said how many of their first round draft picks panned out, Buffalo would
Buffalo
be at the
would be
top
the
of the
top.
list with 0 success.
Yeah, how many of them
How fucking
panned out
cra-
at Buffalo? Zero.
None of them. But like all their first rounders go on to become NHLers.
Well, do you know what the worst part about the Jack Eichel situation? Is like just let him have the surgery. Like you had Jack Eichel. That's
know.
do you know what I mean? Like
it didn't make sense. They're like, we're worried because you're trying something kind of new, and he's like, yeah, well, the other way is not going to work. So what's my options here?
Yeah,
they're like one has a 70% success rate, and the new one, if it works, had like a 98%.
8%, yeah.
And they're like, why wouldn't I do that? And they're like, yeah, because it's new. And he's like, that's the worst argument in the world.
Like you clearly don't like statistics if that's your reasoning.
Like he went to like multiple world specialists who said you should do the artificial disc, and then Buffalo's doctor was like, no, I don't believe in
Well,
that.
I'm happy Jack Eichel had enough autonomy to be like, fuck you and say I'm doing it.
well, it made no
he held
sense to
out
me.
for a while.
They
Yeah.
they
It was
booed
the whole
him
thing.
on his return. All of his returns they boo him. I'm like, dude, it's not his fault he left. Like he asked to get traded because they wouldn't let him have surgery.
He's like, yo, it was either severe arthritis in my neck and never making anything or get the surgery. They're like, boo.
You should be like us.
But I do think Gabe's right. The number one team that I think of when I think of what he said, which is winning cultures, Miami Heat, they're a pretty good example of in a sport where it's like their team just kind of has this like underlying thing where they know how to win. And I think if you're around losing for long enough, it's harder. It's not saying you can't break out of and start winning, but it's like it's a hard thing because there's probably things to it. Like you would assume, like, let's say you're the top teams that consistently are always good. I bet you show up to training camp and everyone's like, let's go, blah, 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 all this stuff. You do things wrong, they yell at you, but not in a bad way. It's like constructive, like things that make you win. Whereas I could see somewhere like Buffalo, like, oh, guys, another shitty start to the season. Oh, we'll get them next year kind of thing. And it's like that breeds more of that shittiness.
Yeah, I could see that. I've kind of felt that with their management and coaching throughout the years. Every time they go and hire someone new, every time I'm like, I don't think that's the answer. And sure enough, within a year or two, they're hiring and firing again. And I'm always like, yeah, I don't think hiring Lindy Ruff for the 4th time is the answer.
They just keep
Like, you know, like no joke. Like
I think they've hired him 4 times.
like they've done this so much times that I'm like, yo, why are you not looking for the next Tocchet? Like, perfect example, Malhotra is available technically still. How are they not going and hiring Manny Malhotra? Instead, they're going to hire Lindy Ruff's assistant coach, who's just Lindy Ruff Jr. You know what I mean? Like, they're just going to keep doing that and then be like, why is there no success and why is the culture not changing here? We keep hiring the same fucking people. So,
technically we've had 4 coaches in the last 5 years too.
But at least recently...
Talkett was weird. That was sad.
Take out last year. I know this is hard to do. But, like, when Rutherford Alvin came in, and more specifically when Talkett followed shortly after, like, there's literally at least felt like there was a change, like a real culture change of no more of this, like, you know, do nothing strategy. Like, we're very much going to play chip and chase if that's how you're going to win games. Who cares? And, like, I felt like Talkett was all about that, and that's why I thought Talkett was so good. I mean, he won Coach of the Year. And I think hiring Foote, at first I wasn't super on board, but I think a big part of that is because, like, Foote is exactly like Talkett. They're not a very big difference there, right? It's same exact thing. It's like hard work is how we're going to win. And they played. I don't really care if you want to be soft and whatever. Like, I'm going to come down hard on you if I have to come down hard on you. So
he's in Philly now?
Yeah.
That's a Talkett place.
He's a hero there.
Yeah.
They have a statue of him outside of their
stadium. I didn't know that when you told me.
I'm pretty sure they have a statue of him outside of the stadium.
I actually don't know, to be honest with you.
I'm going to look it up, but I'm 90%. He's in their Hall of Fame.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, he's it'd be interesting to see if he can turn that Philly team around.
I think it's too early for him to be there. That's the whole reason I didn't think he'd actually go. I just was like, it's like going to a situation like that is called like a coach's graveyard, right? Because they're years from success. So how many years are they gonna like let him just be shit? And even with Talkett's system, I just don't like. There's not a lot going on in Philly. Yeah, you know their roster pretty well as I do.
I don't think it's too trash a roster.
They don't have any centers. Bad. That's the one thing that they're missing.
Yeah, we were sitting here screaming about not having a 2C. They barely have a 3C.
He's a 2-3.
So,
that sucks.
Couturier, when he's healthy,
Zegras might be their
half of the last 2 years.
That's what they're banking on.
I like Zegras.
Yeah. But that's so sketchy, dude. Couturier and Zegras.
Yeah.
Zegras is apparently Hughes' best friend.
He is, yeah.
So is Josh Norris, by the way, if we ever get that guy.
Yeah, that's a...
if there's a target that might still be available because he's in Buffalo and Buffalo's such a hot mess. I actually am starting to like Canucks' idea of like waiting for a 2C to emerge via someone shitting out or whatever's going to happen. Like if Buffalo bottoms out to start the year, they're going to start selling very quickly.
I like Josh Norris.
Josh Norris is the guy, they did the Dylan Cousins Josh Norris swap at the end of last year. Yeah. And I would have kind of liked either one of them as a potential 2C guy. But yeah, Josh Norris and Quinn are like besties. They played all throughout high college and everything through the system. So if he pops out, he's a legit 2C option. He's a guy, he's like 26, 27 too, same age as Hughes. That's a guy I'd really, really like to target. Yeah. So let's all hope that Buffalo just does a Buffalo and crashes out at the start of the year.
Canucks luck that Buffalo, like... Norris, greatest season of all time. Buffalo's back in the league.
And
no!
Fucking 80-point guys. That's what'll happen. But.
He's still got the Band-Aid, though.
He does have the tag of a Band-Aid. I'm not going to lie.
26.
But it's potential.
So, I just hope Petey is solid. I think we just talked about it off air, but... Like our expectations for PD are somewhat muted, I would say. I mean, obviously should be one of our superstars that we built this bedrock of a team on. But I think being more pragmatic and selecting some more muted expectations, I would say, is more realistic. And if he exceeds those expectations, I think it'd just be like a cherry on top, you know? If he scores 90 to 100 points, great. But I just want consistent effort day in and day out on the offensive end. He's always solid defensively.
Go back to being a play driver, right? Like
Barkov doesn't score a lot of points, but you never watch a game with Barkov and go like he was awful offensively. He might not score, but he was playing.
Just play your game.
Play your game. And I will say too, just like from personal experience in sports, anytime I feel like, for example, like if there was a JT on my team, someone that's just like screaming at me, always on my ass all the time, I don't play as well, and that's just me. I'm just like a schmuck playing amateur sports, so I can understand how it would affect you if some dude's just being a dick and you just missed and like you blah blah blah. It would wear on some people.
100%. Everyone's wired different. I feel like very much that's what the Rift was. It's very similar to what you just described, and I just think PD's one of those guys. He's obviously not a hardcore aggressive guy. He's much more softer. And that's fine. I mean, as long as you still fucking play hockey hard, I don't really give a shit what your personality is. But if you have a guy in your ear like constantly fucking ripping you every 2 seconds and then also not being accountable when he's being a slouch, that would drive me
That,
nuts.
yeah.
That would take. I've worked with people like that, even just on a job from personal experience. Nothing like a hockey player, but like that shit affects me on the job day to day.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing.
Yeah, they are humans, and like I just wonder with that removed, and everyone that you love, the Brocks and the Quins of the world that you're best friends with, like what comes out of you then? And we're not asking for 100-point PD. I think we're all just hoping for close to point per game PD, who still brings the play driving and the defensive
and passion, like just
like number 1C. Can you still be a number 1C?
And I will say too, one thing that's a good, like, you know how you guys were referring to Brock's contract and how it's like a I was a little surprised, it was a little low, blah, blah, all that stuff. I think that also can kind of say signs of the player seems to think that they can win stuff, because you don't take a pay cut if you think the team's not going to be able to do stuff, right? It's kind 100%. Of like
even the Demko one, for as weird as it is and love it or hate it, it's a short-term deal, but like Demko could have just waited to leave. I mean, there's so many situations. The goaltending market is so dry right now. You know, when teams would have chased to get Demko.
Yeah.
Like, this is weird. I thought before the offseason started, Demko wasn't worth a lot because of the season he just had, and why would we do it? But funny enough, seeing how the market was playing out and just knowing now what like an Edmonton would pay to have a Demko is pretty high. Like, I think Edmonton would be giving us their first round pick and more.
Yeah, it's better to have them than not have them.
Yeah, it's just the goaltending market is really dry right now, and just that quality is pretty thin in the goaltending world. Like, even I know he's hurt a lot, but like that quality is really thin. Like, there's only 10 guys, and he's one of them that can be that good.
Do you guys think it'd be fair to say it's kind of like not injury wise, but it's kind of like Bobrov? Like, Bobrov, we know, is super elite. Like, he always has been. But wasn't there quite a while in his career where he was injured, but people just kept flying on him because he was so elite? More up and
down. His career was more up
and down. It wasn't injuries?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, a little bit of injuries too, but it was just like 1 year phenomenal.
Sometimes mental.
Yeah,
for sure.
He was probably the most interesting guy to watch mature mentally, because it was very much early on, year in, year out, and then he just got older and just got more stable.
Yeah. Philly was a hard market to start in.
Yeah. And he started young too, right?
And the expectations were high because that team was really good at the time, I think.
Columbus too, even.
Like, I think his name too doesn't serve him well. Bobrov just sounds cool. So it's like, you're with that name, anything that happens, people are gonna be like, yo, Bobrov did this, Bobrov. Like, all
it's nuts how many of the elite goaltenders are Russian.
Yeah.
Like, they're just a factory.
I'm telling you, the new Medvedev kid, our second round pick from this year, he looks really fucking good, and he's Russian. So,
do you have the what else do you have? Do you have like the good picks?
Yeah, what's the good best
Yeah,
ones
we've only done.
Okay, I'll die on this hill. I think the Tavares contract actually ended up being pretty awesome.
Now that you mentioned his age today, I'm
How old is
way
he?
more.
He's only 34.
Oh, I thought he was like 38 or
That's
something.
what everyone thought.
I thought he was 37, 38, so I thought they were paying him into his 40s. So I thought it was bad.
That's a hometown discount.
Yeah.
4.38.
As soon as I saw
year.
that.
Plus bonuses.
Yeah.
Let's not forget.
Let's add the bonuses. It's like
let's not forget
it's
the
like
big elephant in the room.
It's like 6 or 7.
I thought that was a phenomenal contract. Obviously, I'm also high on this. Again, I'm going back-to-back Toronto, but I thought Matthew Nyes' contract was really good.
Yeah.
The 6 years for 7.75. I think he did Toronto a favor because he did get term, right? Mm-hmm. Another great contract, when we talked about this, was Ekblad. Pretty much all the Florida contracts were pretty good.
Yeah, you can just say this now. I had the Bennett one I'd actually argue on, but the Ekblad and Marchand one, absolutely good contracts. They're paying them into later years, and they both, like, Ekblad has injury history, but they're cheap for what they are. Bennett's is very much a Conn Smythe winning contract, where it's like, oh, you just won playoff MVP. Your career highs are 56 points, and we're paying you $8 million.
Someone would have, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, it would have happened more. 9,
It's
10
weird
million,
how that can happen, hey? You get that much money, you put up 56 points, but it's the passion of, like, all the, like, everything that's happened gets everyone like, oh, my God,
everything.
This guy
Yeah, for sure.
Hit more points than Petey.
We were talking about we've already talked about we expect more from Petey.
Petey missed like
I know.
20 games.
I know.
Points per game is not even close.
I know. But to be honest,
Canucks fan is angered everywhere.
To be honest with you, there weren't a lot of bargain or like
Gavrikov.
I would say great contract. That was a good contract, just period.
Yeah, Gavrikov was 7x7.
7x7.
That's
Yeah,
solid.
so Gavrikov, people
That's a
might
great-
think he's not that great. I personally even did up till like a year ago until I started watching a little more LA, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's a stud. Like, he is a number one shutdown pair D. Best thing you can do is play him with a playmaker. He just signed in New York with Adam Fox.
I also actually really
they
like
basically got rid of Lindgren, who was falling out of favor very quickly and can barely play defense. And they went and got a stud named Gavrikov. So I actually really like that move for New York Rangers.
I liked Orlov. Orlov,
short term,
2 years in the Suns. San Jose. San Jose.
San Jose is going to be fun, man. They're going to just keep signing like big contracts for like, you know, short terms for aging guys, and then like flip them later on when they need to, while the Celebrinis and the Will Smiths.
It's a shame because I actually like San Jose as a like I like their jerseys, the colors. Even their past Marlowe, Thornton, all those boys. Yeah,
dude, they're gonna be good. I'm telling you right now, they're gonna be good, man.
I'm looking at
Askarov.
Yeah. I'm looking at a future, and I look so forward to this, where there could be finals between San Jose and Montreal.
That would be sweet.
Because Montreal is building something special too.
Yeah.
And I actually am starting to think San Jose is doing the same.
Yep.
And I see a real future where these two are going to be like.
Well, Montreal's I thought like more soon or recent.
A little sooner. They're like ahead of schedule with Suzuki's and stuff like that. But like the bulk of their teams, like Caulfield and Slavkovsky, they're all like
Demidov.
And now with Dobson.
Like
Dobson.
Yeah, like they are ahead. You're definitely right, Derek. They're like a little bit ahead, I would say. But I feel like San Jose is playing it so well that like give them 2 or 3 years and they're going to be like right there too.
They go 3 deep now. Like they have Matheson, Hudson, and Dobson.
Yeah. Well, they were a playoff team last year and they added. So I mean, technically
they're going to be a playoff team next year.
Montreal.
I'm sorry, teams like Detroit and Ottawa, but you're probably going to stay middling forever, and Buffalo is fucked.
You know what, Matt? I actually am gonna go, and this might be super early. I'm going hard over on the San Jose win total.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Really?
When are we gonna do the over under?
It has the odds have to come out preseason.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, when the odds come out.
We should do one again come preseason.
Yeah, we'll do. We have to do because we have to do our annual. It will be our annual over under.
Absolutely.
I got to defend the title.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You were 2 over on Connor. Is that right?
2 over. You guys all tied, and I was 1 over.
I just gotta say, every time I tied, because I'm pretty sure I just decided between you 3. You guys like convinced me. You were like said all this stuff, and I was like, all right.
I think you know what though? I think it'll be easier this year because we have like the hang of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I think it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah, I'd never done one before. It's just kind of fun to look at that.
Is free agency? Is it?
It's still going.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not a lot left. It's like once Pius Suter signed.
He already did sign.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Once he signed, there was like, okay, that was literally the biggest name to go. Like, which is just telling you how thin this year was. Like,
yeah, but have you seen next year's class?
No. Dude, they're all going to re-sign. This is
the
stupidest shit. I read it too, and I'm like, this is what they said last year. The same shit. All this money, all these free agents, huge lifts. The Bennett's, Tavares, Marners, all of them re-signed. Marner went somewhere with arguably tampering, and that was it.
But it's just cool to look at the class. Like, even with the guys re-signing, the class was still weak.
Yeah.
Like, this class is Connor McDavid.
Okay. Who's not going to re-sign.
Kaprizov.
Probably going to re-sign.
Jack Eichel.
Probably going to re-sign.
Kyle Connor.
Probably going to re-sign.
Panarin.
Okay.
So Panarin.
He might actually
deadline trade.
Adrian Kempe.
Okay.
Martin Nietzsche's.
He might actually be.
Bobrovsky. Anderson. Rasmus Anderson.
Oh yeah.
Is Bobrov's 10-year contract up?
That's crazy.
Has it been 10
Alex
years?
Tuck. He only signed for 7.
Tuck.
2019.
Yeah, there was no 10 years.
2019 to 2026.
Right. I thought there was.
It's a pretty loaded free agency class.
I genuinely hope Connor McDavid just says screw you and leaves Edmonton. I think
he might.
If he did that, I'll say it here on the pod. If Connor McDavid just up and leaves Edmonton. Not gets traded, up and leaves, I'll buy his jersey wherever he goes.
I believe
I'll be so happy because I like him. I just hate Edmonton.
At this point, from what he just quoted last, which
I'm
not going to talk about it, he basically said the Marner. This is what Marner said.
Yep.
He said, I'm not going to talk while the season, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, if you're not talking now, that means you're not talking in the season, which means, like, there's really no chance of you talking until maybe next year, which means you're probably becoming a free agent. Because, like, if you don't discuss it and get it done this summer, which it doesn't sound like it is, I would arguably say it's like a 75% chance you're leaving.
I just don't think.
I'm so happy.
Edmonton is really proven, and it sucks to say because they've been so close.
Doesn't look that good going forward.
They just have 2 players, and it's like you've proven you could get so close, but that final, you just need like 1 goal from not Draisaitl McDavid, and they can't find it. Or like 2
fully
saves.
of the mind of McDavid is someone who knows exactly how good he is, and it'll fucking drive him nuts if he never has a cup. He will not just go somewhere else. He'll go on the cheap to make sure.
Yeah, he wants a cup.
Like, he'll go somewhere on
Vegas.
like a 2-year, $10 million. Like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like, so every other team would offer him 2-year, $20 million a year. He'll go 2-year, 10 just to go to the right place to win.
Yeah,
Like,
do
I
it
think
quick,
McDavid
too.
is
Sickest pedal to
obsessed
kill.
with winning, as any amazing athlete should be. And if he's in the wrong position or the wrong team, he doesn't give a shit. He'll go where the best chance to win is.
Like, dude, the thing too
And he
is when
should
you
do
look
that.
at he should, and when you look at his like how close they've come in the playoffs runs, wasn't last year the like historic points and all this
Their
stuff.
teams aren't
and
deep enough.
you're like, you got to be sitting there when the season ends, and he looks at his teammates and goes, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Dude, have you seen his points per game playoffs?
It's
Like,
ridiculous.
There's only Gretzky and Lemieux in front of him. Like, what else is he supposed to do when you're over 2 points per game per playoff? Like,
so crazy.
Like, he's not also Barkov's stud. Like, he can't also be this amazing offensive talent and also be the best two-way stud in the game. Like, he needs to go to a team where that's already there, and he can also just be the best player.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so hard.
The craziest consideration of that points per game is while he's ahead of Lemieux now, but behind Gretzky right now, I think.
now, yeah.
But that's in consideration that both Gretzky and Lemieux played in their 30s in the playoffs. So that's average.
They've had
out.
like way more time in the
Damn,
playoffs.
okay, that's kind of intense. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I've always felt like McDavid pisses me off, not because of him, but because I just can't stand the way Edmonton's become to be. So to see everything go to shits, I'd be like, justice has been served.
I was so happy. I was so happy they lost.
Me too.
I know everyone was like, "Oh, like the drop for Canada." I was like, "I don't care."
I was,
I don't care.
as
I
much
don't
as
care
I
about
was,
Edmonton.
I almost was 50-50 for that reason, but then as Florida started, like, running away with it, I just got happier and happier.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, yeah, I don't care to see you win. I'm sorry.
I said this right after that McDavid and I think it was mostly McDavid, but him and Draisaitl like came back. It was like the 3-0, 3-3, 4-4, that one.
Yeah.
I said to everyone, I was like, yeah, I think Florida's won, and they're like, what? But at McDavid, and I was like, yeah, but like McDavid and Draisaitl literally had to do every single thing they could to win that game.
Yeah,
and Edmonton, literally the whole series was letting in 4 or 5 goals a game, like every single
The
time.
very next game, they lost like 6-1 or
Yeah.
something. Right?
Like, just picture this. You've done what you've done the last 2 years, and you're running it back with the same goaltending that clearly is just not as good as your opponents.
What did Ken Holland say?
Like,
We
you know
don't
what
need
I mean?
goaltending. We don't need a goaltender.
It's crazy to me because I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, Skinner even has moments in both of these playoff runs where he actually maybe almost arguably steals the series.
Dallas.
Like, at the end of the day, yeah, both times.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, there's like a difference between like doing that once in a 4 different series situation and then meeting a Bobrovsky.
Yeah.
Like, how are you supposed to? You're just not going to
can't.
beat the team that's deeper than you that is Bobrovsky.
Yeah.
So, like, Edmonton has just proven time and time again, you just can't win with 2 guys. Like, that's just not going to happen.
Facts.
So, McDavid, in my mind, he's going to move, and he's going to move in a short term, not even max term, to go to the right place to win.
Who?
Calling this a year in
Okay.
advance.
We're a year in advance.
Yeah.
Realistically,
Florida.
not just
now?
Florida,
who,
Tampa Bay.
not just who you think. Who you think? Like, who? Where do you think you'll actually land? And then we can run this back next year and
I'm
see
on it.
who's right.
I'm on it. I'm calling it right now. Tampa.
Tampa?
Yeah.
New
'Cause
York
they
could be
need
in
a
the mix
seed.
too. The Rangers could be in the mix.
Rangers. Fuck, they could be.
Because
Right.
Panarin's leaving.
Yeah.
Sturkin.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually,
Oh my God,
I'm
can
gonna.
see-
Are you gonna say? Who are you gonna say?
That's a good one. I like that one too. For more of an outsider one.
Who has the most Canadian connection?
I don't think Canada
Tampa?
matters. He wants to win. That's it.
I can't say.
Well, who needs a 1-2C? Right.
Tampa does. That's why I said Tampa.
Okay,
Rangers could too because Zibanejad's not super trusted.
I'm
there.
gonna piggyback off what you said there, Gabe, and I'm gonna say New York. But my reason being, like, obviously they win, but McDavid's like fashion, and I think he would love to be in New York. Like,
It
I
would
think
be
that'd be a place
cool
for him
stop.
to like
Yeah,
to be.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go to a dope stop,
No, you
It's
can still choose that, but after you said that, I was like, I feel like that.
Yeah.
could be
Tampa
it.
in back of my mind, there's a little bit of like it's Florida still. Like that's not a bad landing spot.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's something to be said about the city, obviously, and New York is absolutely on the list. Original 6 team, that's super cool.
Whoever brings a cup to New York will be a like.
Also, dude, think of this because I actually think there's a world where Zibanejad gets moved on sooner than later because he's fallen out of favor there too, and having a situation where they have McDavid, Miller, Trocheck. Is there 3
Jesus.
Cs?
My
see
prediction is going to
that.
be wild. It's
Oh
going to
my
be
God.
that he gets traded to Tampa,
Oh.
but then he resigns in New York.
Signs.
Parlay that shit.
I think he's gonna
Pulls
go
a
home.
Miko Rantanen basically and just fucking decides, fuck you, I'm going home.
I think he goes home. I think he goes to Toronto.
Toronto
With
ooh.
Matthews?
I think he goes to Toronto. I think they back up the Brinks truck. I think they go like, screw it. Everyone comes off the books next year except for Matthews, Nylander, Knives,
Tavares
and the
will still
goalies.
be there as the 3C.
Tavares is there. I think they
Can you
back up the
imagine
Brinks
Tavares
truck.
is the 3C behind McDavid?
Because
Matthews?
Ekman Larson's contract's up in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
The cap's gonna go up. They didn't pay Marner, and they didn't.
Wow, they're gonna have a lot of money.
They're gonna have a lot of money next year.
Wow,
I think
they
they go
actually are
like,
gonna have a lot of
here's
money.
$18 million.
He's from Toronto?
He's from Toronto. I think he's going home.
Wow.
You don't think he wants out of the Canadian
There's so many.
market?
There's so many storylines.
I think
You don't think he wants out of the Canadian
I
market?
think you might be right, but that's my
Yeah.
swing. I think he
I
goes to
think
Toronto.
by the time next year comes around with another failure, I just can't see him staying.
Okay, so let's say it right now.
Toronto.
Tampa.
Tampa.
New York Rangers. Do you have anything else? Should we roll it up there?
Yeah, I think we'll roll it up. It was so much fun following you guys following us for a full first season.
Yeah.
We are gonna be running it back. We're taking the summer off, but we're back early September for our second annual Over Under Pod.
Hell yeah.
Once those figures drop, I'll get the spreadsheet prepped. We'll do our Canucks yearly preview. We'll recap the offseason, what's happened, and then we'll also get into our awards predictions.
Hell yeah.
We do a pretty big show at the start of the year, and we can track that again as we go along.
So first off, Dax, thank you for hosting us. You boys for coming on, and please leave like comments. Like people do listen to this and actually like come up to me and talk about it. So please, we would love to hear anything you leave comments on any of the apps. We'll we'll bring them into the next time we meet up, and we can answer questions or just make you a bit more part of the chat. Anyhow, thank you all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.